In this section, I will show you how to prepare your diagram for your report. First, take a look at this diagram. It is not acceptable. Why is it not acceptable? Because the lines are all staggered in many places and are not straight. As you can see as we move around the diagram. It is very easy to take this cursor, highlight point, left click and hold down and drag and move the line until there are no staggers. Now this line is straight and these two gable lines are straight. Now that becomes acceptable. We'd want to do this every place there were staggers. The next thing that you want to check to see if all of the lines have been identified. One of the keys is if you see a yellow line, and we see a yellow line here, there is one exception, is if this yellow line is, this other level line is at a pitch change situation, then you may have a yellow line showing. But this is on the perimeter, and so we must go and identify this as a perimeter line. We may have redrawn this face and forgot to re-identify this line. Now we check the other lines to see if they've been identified and if they've been identified correctly. There is a mistake here. Where is the mistake? We have a hip ridge line that's identified as a ridge line. So we need to correct that mistake. Okay, so we have checked to see if the lines are straight. We've checked to see if all lines have been identified and if they've been identified correctly. Now, to save some time, we will go ahead and move to the diagram where all the lines have been straightened. This is now an acceptable diagram. Notice that the butt-up lines have been moved in. They were open in the other diagram. All the lines are straight. There are no staggers. All the lines have been correctly identified. The next thing that we want to check is the screen information. What we put on the screen is what we'll print in our report. What do we want to see in our report? If you want the face labels to be seen, you move down to Visible Labels and check Face Labels, and they appear. If you want the face area, which most reports do, then you click that. You can show the face pitches, the ridge, the hip length, perimeter length, and gable length, but that clutters up the diagram, and probably these things are not needed. You can also turn the scale lines on and off, and you can also leave the scale lines on and turn the faces off. You have not lost anything. This is just how you control what is seen. For our report, we want the faces identified, and we want the area in each face. Our next step to prepare this report is to go to Print Configuration and decide on the pages that we want. And notice that we have the screen options for diagram layers and visible labels, as what you see is what you get. So what's on the screen is what we'll print. If you are just pre-diagramming and want to take the diagram and the photograph with you, then uncheck these boxes here and you won't print this extra information. If you are printing a report, you need to have these boxes checked. The bid sheet is something that a contractor would need and you probably will not need, and you do not want to include the 3D views. Whatever changes you make, you should always click OK. Then the next thing is we want to view our print preview. So we go here and we click on Print Preview. And this will show us what our report will look like. Look, we have the word draft. How do we get rid of the word draft? We have to click out of here, go to Draft here, or we can go to Lock Project and Unlock Project here, either place. So we click this, and now we click OK, and now the project is complete. Notice now it's locked also, and here you can unlock it, or you can click on this and unlock it. You can still make any changes in the diagram even if you have marked it complete, but that will tell someone that looks at the diagram that you have finished. Do not mark it complete until you have finished the diagram and it's ready for your report. Now if we go back to print preview, we will see that the word draft is removed. We can scroll down and see what the pages in the report will look like, and you can see that it will have each face, the pitch, the area in square feet and in squares. Now you may also want to add annotations. You may want to add your test squares, and if that's the case, you may want to do that now to make sure all your test squares are in the correct place and the correct numbers. If you want to add any other annotation like your direction arrows, annotations with notes, if you want to change any of your fonts or your text colors, you can do so, or by right-clicking on what you've put on, you can also change and edit these things here. The next thing, if we are satisfied after we've looked at our print preview, then we want to create a PDF. I'm going to put this on my desktop so I can find it really quick. This is the address and the homeowner's name. I'm satisfied and I'm going to save it. It's creating a PDF now. You don't have to add any extra software to do this. It comes with our software. We have successfully created a PDF, and notice that it appears right here at the top on the desktop. Double click and let's take a look at the PDF. Notice that our lines are all straight. There are no staggers. Notice that we can scroll through. Notice that we have the image of the house in the place where we took our scale lines in case somebody wants to try to duplicate your work or review your work. They can see exactly where you took the scale lines. Also, they can see very closely where you took your test squares. And then the rest of the report, just like we looked at in the print preview. Notice that test square A, 7 hail hits. You'll have test square B, C, and D, and so forth in your report also. You now have your report ready to custom attached and send in and send up to the insurance company. In the next section, Chris Cowan will show you how to transfer data to the estimating program and then custom attach the PDF to your report.